In a universe fraught with betrayal, vengeance, and unthinkable alliances, one desperate plea could change the course of history. As the ruthless Thren annihilate the Balan fleet, only a bold, sacrificial mission can bring salvation from the most unlikely of allies: humans, known for their isolative vengeance. Will you confront the ethical dilemmas that test the very core of galactic morality? If you want to dive into real stories of parallel realities every day, in enigmatic, technological worlds that are completely different from our planet, subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Well, let's go. The cosmos lay in a tenuous balance, a dark canvas occasionally punctuated by bursts of vibrant, explosive light, a stark reminder of the war that threatened to engulf it. The Thren, an alien race of unparalleled cruelty and militaristic prowess, had set their sights on universal domination. Known for their incalculable ruthlessness and a voracious appetite for subjugation, they tore through galaxies with an oppressive hand. The Balan, a noble and steadfast species, found their fleet on the precipice of complete obliteration. Once a symbol of courage and unyielding resolve, the Balan fleet was now no more than a beleaguered group of ships, desperately fighting to stave off annihilation amidst the overwhelming onslaught by the Thren forces. Their defense lines broke down ruthlessly under the relentless thrum of the Thren's superior firepower and strategic cunning. Amidst this maelstrom, a single Balan pilot emerged as a beacon of defiance and hope: Murlock. Tall with sinewy strength and hardened features that bore the marks of many battles, Murlock was more than just a warrior, he was a visionary. His piercing eyes, reflecting an oceanic hue, scanned the chaotic expanse of space, taking in the scene of carnage. Desperate screams and fragmented cries for help filled his earpiece, a cacophony of despair that threatened to break his spirit. The Thren were methodical, precise in their extermination, leaving no room for resistance. But in the core of this chaos, Murlock dared to envision a beacon of salvation, an audacious plan that defied logic and history. It was a solution so radical that it bordered on insanity: to seek aid from the humans, who had become a species cloaked in isolation and vengefulness. Once integral members of the galactic community, humans had turned inward, shunning alliances after enduring devastating betrayals from other species. They were famed for their fierce retribution and an unyielding mistrust of non-humans, characteristics that made them both feared and avoided. With the urgency of his comrades' plight fueling his every decision, Murlock proposed this daring strategy to what remained of the Balan command. His vision was met with incredulous stares, seen as an act of suicidal folly. Yet, with grim determination and the understanding that his people's survival hinged on unprecedented measures, Murlock steeled himself for the journey into the unknown. Setting a course for human-occupied space, Murlock cloaked his craft in the most sophisticated stealth technology the Balans had, knowing well that humanity's first response to any intruder would be immediate aggression. The passage through war-torn space was a testament to the decimation that the Thren left in their wake: desolate planets, floating debris from annihilated ships, and a silence that screamed louder than any battlefield. As Murlock's ship breached the perimeter of human space, proximity alerts shrieked through his cockpit, the human outposts alive with activity as they identified and targeted his vessel. The meticulous security measures were evident in the swift mobilization of patrol ships that surrounded him. Beacons flared, voices through comm channels commanded surrender, and Murlock, understanding the gravity of his situation, complied. Landing on an isolated human outpost, he was immediately met with an atmosphere thick with suspicion and latent hostility. The human soldiers, clad in formidable armor and bearing expressions hardened by years of conflict, eyed the Balan pilot with palpable mistrust. Stripped of weapons and communication devices, Murlock was led through the sterile corridors of the outpost, his every movement under scrutinizing surveillance. His ship, a lifeline to his people and a vessel of hope, was impounded, and he was confined within the cold, metallic confines of a cell. Despite the bleakness of his surroundings, Murlock's resolve burned brightly. His intrinsic belief that humankind, despite their isolationist tendencies, bore within them a sense of justice and empathy, drove him. Days passed, a haze of interrogations and silent reflection, during which his captors evaluated his every word and action. His appeals were centered around the universal obligation to combat a greater evil that threatened all life. The gross inaction and hypocrisy of other galactic species were laid bare as Murlock recounted the Thren's unchecked ascendancy. These declarations began to ripple through the human ranks, reaching the corridors of both political and military power. His perseverance, punctuated by an unwavering conviction, gradually softened a few hearts. Initially met with cold resistance, Murlock's outspoken resolve on cosmic injustice evoked a subdued intrigue among some leaders. The whispers grew, and his plight caught the ear of an influential figure, Captain Ariana Gray. Known for her piercing intellect and steel-like resolve, Ariana had seen the fallouts of countless battles. Her once piercing blue eyes now bore a shadow of the pragmatic cynicism that came with decades of relentless warfare. With a frame that exuded authority, Ariana commanded not just respect but also a deep-seated loyalty among her ranks. Intrigued by the Balan pilot's unyielding resolve, she decided to meet him. The meeting was tense, a clash of wills and worldviews. Murlock presented his case with eloquence and desperation, emphasizing the moral duty to confront the Thren. He spoke of honor, unity, and the potential devastation that awaited if no one stood against the universal threat. Ariana, her expression a mask of contemplation, weighed the risks and benefits. The captain's strategic mind, sharpened by years of witnessing the cyclical nature of vengeance and conflict, understood the monumental gamble in assisting the Balans. Despite initial reluctance, the essence of Murlock's plea struck a chord. Determined to act upon a sense of ethical duty and perhaps seeing a fragment of her older, idealistic self in Murlock's fervent determination, Ariana made a decision that could change the course of history. Authorizing a formidable force to be mobilized, the humans prepared their vessels with advanced weaponry and state-of-the-art technology, latter-day beacons of their once glorious interstellar reach. They embarked on this perilous mission, navigating through treacherous space towards Balan territory, the gravity of their undertaking seeping into every silent corridor and every determined gaze. The tension was palpable as the fleet prepared for an engagement that could shift the very foundations of galactic politics. Suddenly, the human task force emerged from hyperspace into the embattled Balan system. Like ghostly wraiths cutting through the void, their ships unleashed a devastating assault on the unsuspecting Thren fleet. Murlock marveled at the strategic precision and technological prowess the humans demonstrated. Coordinated attacks, flawless maneuvers, and advanced weaponry coalesced into a symphony of destruction that caught the Thren off guard, toppling their battlements and severing their command chains. The cold, metallic silence of Murlock's cell contrasted sharply with the chaos he had just escaped. His body, weary from the unceasing vigilance required to transverse human space, slumped against the unforgiving wall. The dull hum of machinery became a monotonous reminder of his precarious situation. Murlock's thoughts raced as he mentally prepared for what felt like an inevitable confrontation with the human authorities. As an outsider, he represented unwanted disruption in a society that had learned to shut out the galaxy's turmoil. Humans were known for their guarded insularity after the betrayals they had suffered. The sheer risk of approaching them left Murlock teetering between hope and despair. Yet, the urgent screams of his comrades in his final communication prompted a sense of unyielding determination. His appeals to justice had to be more than just an emotional plea. They had to strike at the core of human principles of fairness and honor. It wasn't long before a pair of human guards, clad in sleek, black combat armor, approached Murlock's cell. Their piercing eyes examined every inch of him, projecting a silent warning. In a language universal yet cold, they ordered him to follow, their hands resting atop advanced plasma rifles. Murlock complied without resistance, knowing he needed to bide his time for the opportune moment to make his case. The human outpost was a feat of technological prowess. Corridors lined with sophisticated interfaces hummed with the energy of countless interstellar systems at work. The rigor and precision seen in their installations spoke volumes about the human capacity for order and efficiency amid chaos. Murlock marveled inwardly, though he wore a mask of calm indifference. He couldn't afford any lapse in his composure. He was ushered into a stark, almost sterile room, an interrogation chamber. At its center sat a long, sleek table with reflective surfaces, and behind it, a single human figure radiated an aura of command. This was Captain Harris, renowned for his tactical brilliance and unwavering principles. His presence felt like the still eye of a storm, unyielding and unflappable. Captain Harris studied Murlock with a discerning gaze, a glint of curiosity mingling with caution. The silence in the room stretched, almost tangible, as if time itself were holding its breath. Finally, Harris spoke, his voice a blend of steel and subtle curiosity. "What brings you here, alien, to seek aid from those who have turned their backs on the galaxy?" His words cut through the air like a blade, each syllable laden with suspicion and the weight of human history. Murlock's voice, though steady, carried the gravitas of his desperate mission. He explained the dire situation unfolding among the Balans, the relentless assault of the Thren, the imminent threat of annihilation, and the cowardly inaction of other interstellar species who refused to intervene. Murlock's words painted a vivid picture of suffering, valor, and a grim future if no action was taken. For a moment, Harris' guarded expression softened, his eyes reflecting deliberation and perhaps an inkling of empathy. However, he did not show his cards just yet. Murlock knew he had to penetrate deeper, appealing not just to Harris' mind but his very soul. "Do you believe in justice, Captain? Do you believe in standing against tyranny, regardless of the source?" Murlock's voice rose, the intensity of a man pleading for his people's survival ringing clear. Harris leaned back, a contemplative shadow crossing his face. The room's atmosphere shifted subtly as if the weight of Murlock's words began to tip the scales of doubt and suspicion. The captain's response was measured, deliberate. "The humans have faced betrayal, deception, and countless losses. We retreated because the galaxy showed us no loyalty, no reciprocity. Yet, you come here asking us to risk everything once more. Why should we trust you, Murlock?" Murlock had anticipated this moment. He took a deep breath, meeting Captain Harris' gaze with unwavering resolve. "Because, Captain, sometimes the greatest acts of bravery come not from trust, but from recognizing a shared fight for what is right. The Thren are not just our enemy, they are a universal scourge. If left unchecked, they will eventually turn their gaze toward you as well. We may not have had trust to begin with, but we share a common thread deserving a united front." Harris' eyes narrowed slightly, yet the resolve in Murlock's gaze seemed to penetrate his caution. It was in this silent exchange that kernels of respect, albeit reluctant, began to grow. With a nod, Captain Harris motioned to the guards. "Take him back to his cell. We need time to deliberate." As Murlock was escorted out, a small flicker of hope ignited within him. He knew he had sown a seed. Now it was a matter of nurturing it in the fertile ground of human principles and ethics. Within the confines of his cell, Murlock couldn't help but reflect on the precariousness of his situation. His appeals were not just political or tactical but deeply ethical. He was calling upon the fundamental belief systems that had once made humans active arbiters of justice in the galaxy. This, he hoped, would be enough to stir them from their reclusion. Meanwhile, whispers of Murlock's presence and his passionate appeals began to circulate among the human ranks. Soldiers, engineers, and even civilians who had become skeptical of alien entreaties found themselves contemplating the dark shadow of the Thren threat. Conversations sparked in mess halls, during maintenance routines, and even in the loneliness of personal quarters. Murlock's story of desperation, his vivid descriptions of suffering Balans, and his steadfast desire to fight injustice resonated with those who still harbored the forgotten embers of altruism. It was these heated discussions and their eventual ripple effect that caught the attention of the higher echelons of command. Advisors and strategists slowly began to see the unpredictable variables in remaining isolated. The pragmatic realization that a powerful and unchecked Thren could eventually, inevitably, become a direct threat shifted the calculus. Captain Harris found himself at the center of this peculiar storm, a vortex of old wounds pitted against emerging moral imperatives. The ecosystem of rational arguments mixed with the more intangible sentiments of honor and duty weighed heavily on his shoulders. The Council of Senior Officers convened in a secluded chamber, surrounded by holographic maps and strategic analyses of the broader galactic theater. Discussions were intense, often punctuated by fervent exclamations of anger, fear, and moral reasoning. Each officer brought their unique perspectives. Some advocated fiercely for intervention, citing the inherent duty to combat tyranny. Others, more cautious or scarred by the past, warned against opening old wounds and incurring the wrath of a new enemy. The dynamics were complex, mirroring the multifaceted complications of the universe they inhabited. As whispers of Murlock's plea began to ripple through the human outpost, the air grew charged with debate and suspicion. The outpost's leader, Captain Talia Marquis, a seasoned veteran with eyes that seemed to hold the weight of countless battles, was intrigued and wary. Known for her tactical prowess and unyielding principles, Captain Marquis had faced threats from species across the galaxy but had never encountered a situation quite like this. The meeting between Murlock and Captain Marquis was set in the stark, utilitarian conference room deep within the outpost. The room's cold metallic walls and harsh lighting created an atmosphere brimming with tension. Murlock, though visibly fatigued and bearing the marks of his trials, stood with an air of resolute determination. Captain Marquis, accompanied by her top advisors, scrutinized him with an intensity that could pierce through any fabric of deception. Murlock's heart pounded as he meticulously laid out the dire plight of the Balan people, his voice echoing off the metal walls. He spoke of the Thren's relentless assault, their insatiable hunger for power, and the abandonment felt by his people as the galaxy turned a blind eye. He did not resort to theatrics or overly sentimental appeals, understanding that the humans respected strength and facts. Captain Marquis listened in silence, her face a mask betraying no emotion, but her advisors exchanged furtive glances. Murlock's words struck a chord. They spoke to shared experiences of betrayal and the urge for justice. The room grew silent as Murlock finished his plea. Captain Marquis rose, her gaze locked onto Murlock's. Pacing slowly, she weighed the risks and benefits, the potential losses, and the moral imperative that Murlock's plea ignited within her. The decision was not one she took lightly, as it could mean embarking on an intervention that might draw the ire of other galactic powers and further entangle humanity in a web of interstellar politics. After a moment that felt like an eternity, Captain Marquis turned to her advisors and issued a command. With measured resolve, she announced that humanity would not stand idly by as the Balan people faced extinction. Despite centuries of isolation and a fortress-like demeanor, the humans would rise, driven by a rekindled sense of justice. The preparation for the mission was a sight to behold, an intricate ballet of military precision and technological prowess. The vast hangars of the outpost buzzed with activity as advanced warships were readied for deployment. Engineers and technicians swarmed the vessels, running final diagnostics and calibrating weapons systems. The sleek, lethal forms of the battleships glistened under the artificial lights, each one a testament to human ingenuity and engineering. Captain Marquis handpicked a team of elite soldiers and seasoned pilots for the mission, each member carefully selected for their expertise, loyalty, and unwavering resolve. Among them was Lieutenant Eric Bastien, a tactical genius with a haunted past, and Commander Zara Amelie, a formidable warrior known for her unyielding courage. Their presence added formidable strength to the mission, and their backstories intertwined, creating subtle undercurrents of personal stakes. As the fleet assembled for departure, Captain Marquis addressed her forces. Her speech was short but powerful, emphasizing the importance of their mission, the necessity of standing against tyranny, and the hope that their actions would echo throughout the galaxy. The crew, invigorated by her words, took their positions with a renewed sense of purpose. The journey to Balan territory was fraught with tension and anticipation. The human fleet navigated through the vastness of space, their advanced navigation systems plotting a course through the stars. The fleet maintained radio silence, adopting stealth protocols to avoid detection by potential Thren spies. Within the cabins of the ships, soldiers and pilots prepared for the imminent clash, steeling themselves for the battle ahead. Arriving at the fringes of Balan space, the human fleet observed a haunting sight. The once thriving Balan territories were now scarred by the relentless Thren occupation. Amidst the remnants of destruction, pockets of Balan resistance struggled to fend off wave after wave of Thren assaults. It was a heart-wrenching sight, one that steeled the resolve of the human forces further. The Thren, confident in their superior numbers and technological prowess, were caught off guard by the sudden and precise arrival of the human fleet. Captain Marquis orchestrated the battle with military precision, her commands reverberating through the intership communications. The humans employed superior tactics and state-of-the-art technology, utilizing cloaking devices, electromagnetic pulse cannons, and advanced shielding systems to outmaneuver the Thren forces. Lieutenant Bastien's strategic genius brought significant victories in key skirmishes, as he predicted Thren movements with uncanny accuracy. Commander Amelie led a boarding party into the heart of a Thren flagship, engaging in brutal close-quarter combat to disable critical systems. The combination of human tactics and technological superiority gradually turned the tide of the battle. As the baleful skies of Balan space burned with the heat of battle, the Balan forces, inspired by the sudden reinforcements, rallied with newfound vigor. Murlock, now back among his people, coordinated with the human commanders, forming a seamless alliance that began to dismantle the Thren armada piece by piece. In the throes of battle, the ethical implications of the alliance simmered beneath the surface. The humans, once vengeful and reclusive, displayed an unanticipated sense of responsibility and justice. It was a stark contrast to their previous isolationist stance, revealing the complexity of their moral compass. The Balans, on the other hand, faced the uncomfortable reality that their survival now depended on an unlikely savior, challenging their perceptions of trust and alliance. The Thren, once thought invincible, were forced into disarray. Their shouts of alarm echoed through their ranks as human forces executed flawless maneuvers, decimating key vessels and infrastructure. Explosions dotted the void, lighting up the heavens in a macabre dance of fire and metal. The oppression that had gripped the Balan territories loosened with each passing moment, bringing glimmers of hope amidst the devastation. As the battle reached its zenith, a profound silence fell over the galactic expanse. The Thren fleet, now a shadow of its former self, began a disorganized retreat. The combination of human ingenuity and Balan resilience had achieved the unthinkable, a stunning victory against an overwhelmingly powerful adversary. In the aftermath of the battle, Captain Marquis and her officers stood amidst the wreckage, their expressions somber yet resolute. They had intervened out of moral duty, yet the path ahead remained unclear. The alliance forged in desperation now faced the reality of what came next. The Balans, indebted and filled with a deep sense of gratitude, looked to the humans with a mixture of admiration and introspection. But Captain Marquis, mindful of the fragile nature of this alliance, addressed her troops and the Balan leaders with measured words. The backdrop of space was a canvas of chaos as the Balan and human alliance faced the Thren armada. The skies roared with the symphony of warfare, streaks of destructive energy and the brilliance of explosions painting the void. The Thren, once thought to be unstoppable, found themselves caught in a nexus of cunning strategies and formidable weaponry. High above Balan Prime, the command ship Seraphim orchestrated the coalition forces. Murlock, standing beside the human Captain James Corrine, felt a surge of hope amidst the battle's cacophony. The human vessels were unmatched, their sleek designs reminiscent of avian predators, moving with a grace that belied their lethal power. The advanced weaponry, developed during their years of isolation, showcased the ingenuity and ferocity of humankind. Captain Corrine's mind was a labyrinth of strategic calculations, each decision a potential turning point in the galactic tide. His demeanor was as cold and precise as the vacuum of space itself. Battles were won and lost in the cognition of commanders, and Corrine's prowess was put to the ultimate test. The humans, driven by principles far deeper than mere survival, executed maneuvers with unparalleled precision. One of the pivotal moments came when the Seraphim's sensors picked up an immense energy surge from the Thren's flag vessel, the Dreadmancer. A colossal ship, feared across the galaxy, it was an apex of Thren military might. Murlock, deciphering the energy patterns, understood the implications immediately. The Thren were activating a catastrophic weapon, one that could tip the scales back in their favor by annihilating a significant portion of both fleets. Murlock's blue skin paled as he apprised Corrine. "If that weapon fires, we're finished." Captain Corrine nodded, his gaze unfathomable. "We have one shot. Assemble the strike team." In the shadows of the Seraphim's hangar, a specialized assault unit prepared for a daring incursion. Their leader, Lieutenant Erin Voss, dissected the plan with surgical precision. Voss, a hardened warrior with a brooding countenance and eyes that reflected countless stars, was a testament to human determination. With a combination of Balan resilience and human daring, the strike team's objective was clear: neutralize the weapon before it activated. As the assault ship penetrated the Dreadmancer's defenses, the team encountered resistance from Thren warriors. The Thren, towering creatures with sinewy forms and relentless aggression, were a formidable adversary even against the best-trained soldiers. The hallways of the Dreadmancer echoed with the clash of metal and the fire of plasma weapons. Each corner turned brought a new wave of combatants, each step forward a testament to the coalition's resolve. Murlock, though a pilot, found himself in the heart of the skirmish. The stakes were colossal, and every heartbeat thundered with the urgency of their mission. The strike team advanced, their determination cutting through the despair like a blade. Lieutenant Voss, leading the charge, was a beacon of courage, directing their every movement with military precision and unyielding resolve. They reached the core of the Dreadmancer, a labyrinthine chamber bathed in a sickly light emanating from the weapon's energy conduits. The mechanism itself was an intricate lattice of alien technology, pulsating with a malignant power that seemed almost alive. Tasked with disabling the weapon, the team's tech specialist, Ensign Alara Nori, worked with frenzied focus. Nori, with her agile frame and sharp intellect, deciphered the alien technology with relentless tenacity, her fingers a blur over the control panels. Outside, the main battle raged on. The Thren fleet, reeling from the onslaught of human tactics, faltered. Captain Corrine, his voice an anchor amidst the chaos, directed the coalition forces with relentless efficiency. The human ships, sleek and deadly, moved in synchronized harmony with the more resilient Balan cruisers. The Thren were formidable with their brute strength, but the humans held the advantage of innovation and adaptability, honed through years of survivalist determination. The turning point came as Voss and his team successfully disabled the weapon, the imminent threat behind them. The Dreadmancer shuddered as containment breaches and power surges racked its structure. The strike team narrowly escaped, their mission's success a linchpin in the coalition's strategy. The miscalculation by the Thren and the subsequent neutralization of their deadliest weapon tilted the scales irrevocably. In the final moments of the battle, the combined fleets achieved a breakthrough. The Thren, caught between the hammer of human tactical precision and the anvil of Balan resilience, began to crumble. Explosions rippled through the enemy lines as ship after ship succumbed to the relentless assault. The void was thick with the debris of a shattered armada, the silence of annihilation a solemn testament to the ferocity of the conflict. As the last vestiges of Thren resistance collapsed, a wave of relief washed over the coalition forces. The horizon of a new dawn broke upon the battlefield, a momentary peace blanketing the carnage of war. The victorious scene was not merely a reprieve from annihilation but a resurrection of hope within the galaxy, the promise of a new era of alliances forged in the crucible of conflict. Murlock and Thren stood in the Seraphim's command center, their ethnic divides bridged by the camaraderie born from their shared ordeal. Yet, amidst the triumph, a sense of trepidation lingered. The future was an uncharted expanse, the implications of this alliance a burgeoning mystery. Policies, prejudices, and fears that were temporarily set aside for survival now threatened to resurface, their specters haunting the potential unity that lay ahead. The coalition's victory wasn't just a testament to their combined might but also a statement against the prevailing ethos of isolated survivalism. The Thren, who had thrived on division and fear, were now a testament to the power of unity in the face of existential threats. Yet, the afterglow of victory could not erase the deeper, more insidious conflicts that lay in wait. Back on the surface, Murlock, surrounded by the ruins of the Balan capital and the remnants of their cities, found himself grappling with newfound responsibilities as a liaison between the Balans and their enigmatic saviors. His people, while grateful, were wary, their collective psyches scarred by the trauma of near annihilation and the complexities of accepting aid from a species once considered unpredictable and vengeful. The humans, having fulfilled their mission, faced their own crossroads. Captain Thren's command thrummed with a sense of purpose, and yet, beneath that, a tension simmered. The human expeditionary force had acted out of both necessity and morality, and now, the weight of their choices began to press upon them. As the celestial battlefields begin to grow quiet, the haunting echoes of the Thren warship's destruction linger like phantoms. The still and shattered remnants of once mighty fleets drift aimlessly through the cold vacuum of space, bearing silent witness to the unprecedented clash that will be remembered for eons. The aftermath of this galactic upheaval ignites a moment of somber reflection and enduring resolve that will cascade through the annals of interplanetary history. In the heart of the Balan homeworld, a mournful yet proud stillness settles over the expansive cityscapes and pastoral landscapes that define their civilization. The surviving members of the Balan fleet return home with scarred hearts and weary bodies, yet with souls set aflame by an undeniable sense of purpose. Among them stands Murlock, who steps onto Balan's soil with a profound transformation. He is greeted as both a hero and a prophet, a symbol of unyielding faith and the unforeseen alliances that rose from the ashes of despair. The great city of Balthamore, the Balan capital, is swathed in the soft, ethereal light of their twin suns, casting long shadows as Murlock makes his way through the throngs of cheering citizens. Above, the sky is filled with the remnants of their greatest test of survival, a persistent reminder of the monumental sacrifices that were made. The central plaza, a grand, ancient structure interlaced with the flora of their world, serves as the stage where the leaders of the Balan people stand ready to address their kin. Murlock's arrival is heralded with the deep, resonant chimes of the Galdorn bells, an ancient call to unity and remembrance. As he steps onto the raised platform beside the High Council, the solemnity of the moment presses down upon the crowd like a tangible force. The elders, their expressions a blend of grief and determination, look upon Murlock with something akin to reverence. The leader of the Balan Council, High Elder Arvalarn, raises a hand to signal the beginning of the ceremony. His voice, though aged and cracked, carries the weight of authority and centuries of wisdom. Today, we gather not only to mourn our fallen but to celebrate the dawn of a new understanding, Arvalarn begins, and his words ripple through the assembly like a gentle breeze through the ancient trees. Through the valor and sacrifice of beings from distant stars, we have come to comprehend the unfathomable potential of unity, even amidst diversity and isolation. As his speech crescendos, Arvalarn recognizes Murlock, inviting him to speak. Murlock, with a steely resolve, steps forward, his eyes sweeping over the faces before him, each awaiting the wisdom distilled from his harrowing journey. "We fought, we bled, and we triumphed," Murlock begins, his voice steady, each word infused with the gravitas of their collective experience. "Yet our victory was not born solely from our strength, but from an alliance of wills and principles that we dared to believe in, even when the cosmos itself seemed to devour all hope." Murlock recounts the fears, the skepticism, and ultimately the astounding courage of the human allies. Each word paints a vivid picture of their technologically advanced vessels, the precision of their strategies, and the raw, unyielding strength they brought to the battle. The humans, once thought to be lost to their own cycles of vengeance, had transcended those confines to honor a pact born from necessity and righteousness. Our allies, though enigmatic and bearing their own grudges against the galaxies, showed us that even in the most reclusive hearts lies a vein of justice, waiting to be tapped, Murlock concludes, his voice echoing with a resonant finality that leaves the crowd in deep contemplation. The assembly is silent, each individual lost in their thoughts, pondering the profound implications of such an alliance. There is an unspoken agreement among them. This bond forged in the darkest of times must be nurtured, lest they fall back into the abyss of isolation and disunity. In the aftermath of the ceremony, as the crowd disperses, smaller gatherings form across the capital. Groups of Balans discuss their hopes and fears for the future, sharing stories of lost loved ones and dreams for the generations to come. The plazas, parks, and great halls once again become hubs of community and shared purpose. A meeting convenes among the High Council, military strategists, and scientists, with Murlock present as a key participant. The discussions are steeped in hope and trepidation as they plan the reconstruction of their fleet and the establishment of lasting peace. Special attention is given to the technologies and strategies learned from their human allies, a testament to the wisdom in seeking collaboration. Many debates rage into the night. Should they attempt to bring humans back into the fold of the galactic community? Can the lessons from this ordeal guide them to form a more inclusive and resilient interstellar alliance? Ideas clash and meld, eventually finding common ground in the shared vision of a balanced and vigilant future. Surrounded by the stars that witnessed their trial by fire, the Balan homeworld begins to heal. The war-scarred landscapes and vast cities engage in regeneration efforts. Advanced medical facilities work tirelessly to tend to the wounded, while repair drones and labor forces reconstruct the once flourishing habitats and infrastructure. As dawn breaks once more over Balthamore, the people awaken with a rekindled spirit. The legacy of their struggle and the human intervention serve as an eternal reminder etched in their collective psyche. For the Balans, the war with the Thren was not just a clash for survival but a crucible in which their identity and values were reforged. In the quiet solitude of the Great Memorial, a serene garden dedicated to their fallen heroes, Murlock stands alone, reflecting upon the journey he undertook. The memorial is an exquisite blend of natural beauty and technological artistry, where holographic projections of stars dance amidst ancient stone monuments inscribed with the names of the departed. A gentle breeze stirs the leaves, carrying with it the faint, harmonious hum of the Galdorn bells in the distance. Murlock's thoughts traverse the echoing corridors of his mind, reliving the moments of desperation, the igniting spark of hope, and the triumphant yet sobering victory. The images of the human warriors, fierce yet possessed of a profound moral compass, linger in his thoughts, intertwining with the vision of a future bound by integrity and common purpose. With a final, contemplative look at the memorial, Murlock turns away, his steps leading him back into the heart of his revitalized world. He knows that the path ahead is fraught with challenges, yet he is undeterred. The seed of unity and resilience planted by the Alliance must flourish, guiding them through the darkness into a new era of intergalactic peace and cooperation. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.